So how do you think like this profile building and the manufacturing of the cases have been evolved, and is it really working, do you think?
I think this is such an important topic because I speak to a lot of people who engage in profile building, and they're very well intentioned. And a lot of times, these are my clients from India or China who are facing severe backlogs. So I'm incredibly sympathetic to their situation and their efforts. And it's sometimes a very hard conversation to have when somebody comes to me with a resume or a profile that I can clearly tell was developed over the last year, maybe year and a half for the purposes of EB1, because I know that person put a lot of time, effort, and sometimes money into this in order to be able to finally get their green card after they've been in the United States for so long, for so many years, doing everything right, and it's just the country of birth that's keeping them from getting that document. So I think that I do find very valuable in having conversations with people because if I can at least, you know, give them insight into maybe a strategy that may work best for their case and help them pivot and think about the time and effort that they are taking into maybe, creating or publishing articles when they are not a researcher, right? Or doing peer reviews when they are not a researcher and all that. I do find that very valuable, and sometimes I see people having a lot of aha moments, right? And thinking, okay, I need to think about this again.
Yeah.
For EB1A, I think the danger with profile building is aside from it being, it is definitely well intentional, but I just think that immigration officers will know. I know when somebody's engaging and the immigration officer will know too. So I think if a person files a case with that type of evidence, it will become apparent to the immigration officer, and there goes your time, your money, your energy spent in this process, right? Um, I think one way to help people avoid this trap is to have a understanding of, okay, what is my story, right? I think it all goes back to storytelling because if you are somebody who's working for a tech company or you're an industry professional or you're working in, marketing or you're a software engineer, you are the person behind the scenes of that company. You're not necessarily the person, taking all the credit for the wonderful things that your company is doing in the world, right? So start from that, like understanding what is so natural to a particular occupation I think is very valuable because unless there is, I think, an organic story being told for the software engineer and the reason why maybe they had to engage in research and publish, it's going to look like patchwork. It's going to look like a quilt with a bunch of different pieces that don't go together. And I think that ends up harming more than helping. Same thing with memberships. People sometimes spend so much time and effort trying to become members of certain associations, and immigration won't accept it, you know? So there's just a lot here, I think, that needs to be said and talked about about this in particular.
Yeah. I think I look at all of this work as more of a career advance or a career progress. So if somebody is so my suggestion here is so if somebody is coming in and want to pursue this EB1A category, especially, they have to see how much impact that they have done in their own work, So if let's say if they don't know, if the work what they're doing, how to make that valuable and how to develop the story around their own professional career, they don't like then they won't stand a chance no matter how easily you can get into the membership roles and and somebody can do the citations for you, if you're not getting impactful and if you don't have a followers, like, you're not inspiring anyone, you don't have a chance to do it. In my opinion, are often going wrong where they're just saying that, hey, my colleague is getting a lot of membership opportunities, my somebody who is doing the profile building for him, but like so I can do the same thing as well, so there is something like a trap going on. But if the people can realize that it's more of a, if you think, if you really want to work towards it, yes, you can work towards it, but you have to aim it towards building your career, not just
Exactly.
about profile building.
I agree 100%. And what ends up happening with a profile building approach is that your profile ends up looking like everybody else's.
Yeah,
And therefore,
exactly.
you are not extraordinary and you don't stand out.
Exactly.